Tom, would you like to switch questions? Yeah, I just got done telling him I really don't have a question.
Imagine that. Great.
Okay, Dave.
John, I'd like to ask you about 5-on-5 play. 6 of those goals last night came even strength 5-on-5. What's the success there? We talk a lot about your power play, but what about 5-on-5?
I think the success 5-on-5 starts with the play away from the puck. As far as trying to control the neutral zone, this team here tonight, I know they have some injuries, but a really quick team. I think one of the best transition teams. So our neutral zone play and tightening up and closing areas off to create turnovers helps your 5-on-5 play. So players, when they score their goals and they're getting some points, they think it's offense, but it starts with defense. And I think that's been a pretty good concentration of ours throughout the year.
Is that perhaps for you a better, or maybe the best barometer of how your team is playing as opposed to special teams?
Yeah. I think when you get into 5-on-5, checking comes into play. Even if you're talking about offense, you're still talking about how you're checking, stick checking, just being on the right side of the puck, all certain things that we talk about when you're checking. I think with the other specialty, the penalty killing, when that's struggling, you're checking 5-on-5 is probably not good. There's a correlation there. So we did a good job of that last night in the second and third period.
John, we've talked a lot about Jack and Savard's, kind of some of the sacrifices they've made. Are they playing any different, just their actual play different than a year ago?
No, I don't think they're. I think they're very comfortable with one another. I think they like playing with one another. I think they've been more aggressive. I think they've been more aggressive in the neutral zone. I think they've been up the ice more, where it creates you set your gap already. Even if you don't get in the offense, you're setting your gap as a defenseman already because you're joining the rush. I think that's helped them. They've made a lot of plays in the neutral zone versus turning and going back for the puck in the defensive zone. And they're good players. They're under the radar. Don't really have to talk too much to them. They just go about their business, and I guess that's the biggest compliment. They're so businesslike in how they play.
Last night was a very, I'd say, emotional game for your team. Is there any concern that the emotion level will not be as
No, we have no right to even broach that subject as far as not being ready to play. I think the reason why we have found a way to have some success here early is our concentration, ready to play each and every night. So I'm not sure what the result's going to be. I'm not sure how the game's going to be played, but it certainly shouldn't be through lack of readiness by this team here. We're not good enough.
Both teams are on back-to-backs. You had the luxury of more of a blowout game, so maybe ice time was more into that.
We spread it out. Yeah, third period when it was out of hand, we spread some ice time out. I'm not a big believer in the back-to-back where you should be tired. I think sometimes it helps you where if you've had added minutes and I think your second wind kicks in, I think I don't think you're thinking too much about the X's and O's. You're just playing, and I think it allows you to be simple as a player. So the back-to-back stuff. I mean, we have 19 of them. We have to find a way to get over that talk in this league about that back-to-back game is a tough one to play. I think sometimes it can be an easier game to play.
Coach, good to see you again. How does that team compare to the other good teams or great teams you coached elsewhere in the league?
This team?
Yeah. Or what are the differences if there are? I mean,
Yeah.
goaltending is probably a common thread.
Yeah, we're 31 in, and is that what 31? I'm still trying to figure out exactly what we are. This is certainly similar to me. If you're asking about the teams I've coached, is when I took over Tampa, with a young group. We have some skill. Tampa had some skill, and just trying to take the right steps in the process to build a team. I know I know there's talk about our team as far as how we've played. We have 51 more games to play, and there's so many things that can go well and improve, and some things that you're going to struggle at. So I just want us to stay steady and stay with the process, and that's kind of how we went about it in Tampa there. And it took us a number of years to get where we wanted to be. Quite honestly, when we won the Stanley Cup, we didn't even know what we were doing. We were so young and just so full of enthusiasm and feeling no pressure, we just played. And that's what I want this team to do, is just worry about the foundation of as far as how we're teaching, how we should play, but then allow them to play. So we're trying to go about it the same way. My pleasure. Didn't you already ask one? So you had no questions. Now this is your second question.
Along the same line, when did you kind of come up with the safest debt in Tampa? Was that right away, or did that kind of evolve?
First, it's Craig Ramsey. Craig Ramsey was my assistant coach there. Terrific coach, and I liked the way he coached. I was kind of X's and O's at that point in time, and Rama would coach through some of his experiences as a player, and he was a very cerebral coach, and he's the one who came up with that line, and you kind of go with it. I thought we were a nervous, safe team in the first period last night, and you can see what happens where. And I think as a coach you evolve, and I've certainly tried to get on that side of it as far as allowing them to play. And I'd rather us make mistakes through aggression than sit there and just paralyze because we just don't want to make a mistake. So I'd rather us make, and I told them between periods, I don't care how many mistakes you make the rest of this game. I just want you on your toes and play straight ahead. And so that's kind of how it evolved in Tampa.
Keeping with the Tampa Bay analogy here a little bit, it seems like the veteran players in this room when you got here last year were so frustrated, maybe shocked even at that point also. You had some really willing listeners, and you had some players who really were willing and wanting to be led, so desperate to win. Was that similar as well in Tampa, where they had been through some really tough stretches and were wanting to?
Yeah, it was a bit of a comedy show there in Tampa for a bit, where right on through. And I'm not sure if I can. I'm just trying to think of some of the veteran guys there. I look at the where it's similar is, I think the standard of how you play was a standard too low to be acceptable. And I thought that was going on in Tampa, and that was definitely going on here last year. I can't speak for what happened years prior, but when I came in, it stunk of entitlement. It stunk of entitlement in Tampa, and that's what we've had to try to flush out. Jury's still out. I think we're getting it out. I think at times it rears its head, and that's something that we have to keep on trying to work at. But that's the biggest thing that I think similar to Tampa is that entitlement and just accepting this is okay. And I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, sir.
Good. Thank you.